Madison, Wisconsin. I worked on Barack Obama's campaign in 2008, and I went to work at the White House in 2009 and 10, and I say that because I left the White House to go run Russ Feingold's campaign back in Wisconsin to fight for labor rights and to fight the corruption that unites us today. Since Russ Feingold's campaign, I have joined a human rights organization, the Enough Project, and I'm here today to introduce a dear friend which is fighting for this struggle in a very different context, and I want to connect this in my introduction to him. Okay? There's a crisis going on in Congo that involves the extraction of minerals for U.S. corporations, U.S. electronics companies, and there's a handful of billionaires fighting every regulation that we could possibly fight for to improve humanitarian conditions in Eastern Congo. As U.S. citizens, as voters, as consumers of these electronics, we have to stand in solidarity with the human rights advocates for the issue in Eastern Congo. And so I'm about to call up a dear friend of mine who's written a poem that he's about to perform that talks about this very dire crisis in Eastern Congo and how it connects to the issues that unite us today. So without further ado, give a round of applause, Omi Congo.
All right. Yay! Push the bottom of the button.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
What's up? My name is Omi Congo. I'm a son of the Congo. They say when America sneezes, the world catches a cold. In our country, we have caught a cold, and many of us are dying. I'm going to share a true story with you all. It's called Welcome to the Congo. Every fight we have here for Americans, for jobs here, for health benefits, it benefits people across the globe. Hear the story, and let's stay involved, and let's never be silent. This is a true story. My beloved Congo, the joke of the African continent, the world's gold, diamond, and coltan mine, Rwanda's concubine. This country of mine, poisoned with the swine that is Western policy. You see, Westerners and Asians exploit the riches, but live behind gated communities with underpaid Congolese security. So they're closing the door on fractured Congolese faces with one hand while robbing her for resources with the other. And no province is safe, because even some of our own corrupted Congolese leaders are involved in this race, but even they can't keep pace in the face of our Rwandan aggressors, annexing our spirit to their sick and stricken sinister soul. To such an extent that to now call Eastern Congo, you must dial Rwandan area codes as they toy with the possibility of introducing Rwandan currency in the East. The United Nations talks of peace, knowing full well that peace can only be attained through violence. Congolese rebel leaders becoming Congolese prime ministers can only happen through violence. Child soldiers fighting in fear of retribution on their families, joining the spread of violence, raping my mother country and spilling her black coltan blood only continues through violence. When I talk to you about Congolese genocide, if Western compliance, your response?
Violence.
You see, I know because I used to be just like you, sitting there smiling while other folks lie dying. Even bought my wife a diamond and probably spilled the blood of a distant cousin for it and chose to ignore it. But now I visited Congolese refugee camps to find that there's not even any refuge for refugees. Abandoned Congolese mothers and children living in tents made out of empty rice bags while lice drags through their hair, and their daughters living in despair start having sex and babies at 12 years old with 50-year-old married men with no humility, who pays them 25 cents for their virginity and the possibility of exchange for AIDS, while the U.S. and the World Bank gives this absentee father of a government aid. But I'm looking for a cure for both diseases because 5 million have died in 5 years, and too many orphans are shedding tears as they start dying in the streets at 11 years old, because even though it's hot on the outside, their inner spirits are cold from walking around starving in the capital city that barely has paved roads, and eating half a meal a day can't heal that. Living on less than $1 a month won't heal that. And since y'all only see Israel, Palestine, Afghanistan, and Iraq on the news, y'all can't feel that. And so I'm hoping that 1,000 words can be worth a picture, because this image of the Congo may not fit your stomach, but it'll fit your fingers with diamonds, your ears of gold, your cell phones of coltan, while newly discovered Congolese oil heats your house when it's cold. But y'all still don't give a damn. Even when I talk to you about Congolese with polio, walking as if their left knee was glued to their left hand, you see there may be a cure for measles and malaria, but there's no medicine for misery. In a country being steered in the wrong direction, and children dying from all sorts of infections, and 12-year-old girls condemned to death because rich married men, they don't use protection, and all of their relationships relationships end in rejection. It's like the entire country suffering from a lethal injection. A second genocide in less than 100 years that's gone without mention, along with the fact that we've gone over 15 years until our election on the Congolese street called the Avenue of the Future. That's where my father was tortured and nearly died in detention. So you have to forgive me when I say the future looks bent in the minds of the people. And you see, I'm also pissed off because they say long live an independent Congo. But I don't remember one that ever was. The international community correctly condemns Congolese corruption and questioning where the ministers bought their cars from. But the world's ears become deaf when I ask where our invaders got their arms from. This is the Congo, damn it, and ain't none of it funny. Americans who work here say it's a great place to make money. Folks with connections from Bush to Bin Laden said he robbing this country of our resources through Lebanese liaisons living in the land of internationally sanctioned genocide, where pathetic United Nations plus putrid United States policies equals pesticide, claiming that they finally brokered peace, but don't let them fool ya, because up until this day we're still digging up body bags in Bunya, because their role in the Congo supports nothing but violence. Our continual purchase of Congolese resources that never benefit the masses, compliance, possible untested AIDS drugs and unsuspecting Congolese in the name of science. Poems like this are trying to wake you all up, a simple act of defiance. All I ask for my beloved Congolese people, self-reliance. But when I ask you to help me heal the hurting heart of Africa, your response?
Silence.
Help us out. Help us out. We need you. Keep the fight going. Keep the fight going. Keep the fight going.